So, continuing with a view, a little bit, and then we will do the meditation. We will talk about that. View, at most important. When Buddha said, never rely on a person, but rely on the teaching. That's what he's talking about. You, especially those who are new to Buddha Dharma, Buddhism, you have to be inspired by view. It would be better if you are inspired by the view and then inspired by the sort of the Buddhist practices, such as sitting straight, breathing in and out, and even more, it would be better if you are inspired by the view rather than a person. Because being inspired by the person and then getting into the view, that is possible, by the way. That is very much possible. But it's really risky, really risky. Especially, it really has to have a proper cause and condition, and, everything has to be together. It's like Saraha, the great Saraha was the sort of the dean of the Nalanda University. And Nalanda University, as I said yesterday, it's an academic institution. It's a Nalanda is like the center of the Indian critical thinking, analytical thinking. These days people, pride themselves for being critical and skeptical. If you read some of the skepticism and, critical thinking of the Nalanda guys, even after 2,000 years later, we will be ashamed how we are actually so backward. They were so critical. Nagarjuna's Madhyamika Mulakarika, one of the most important texts. One chapter is wholly dedicated to whether Buddha exists or not. It's really amazing. Not like, it's not a wishy-washy, it's not a sort of, it was not only at that time, of course at that time. At that time, Buddha, we consider him as one of the most important modernist, sort of revolutionarist. He was really going totally, against the ideas of creator God and super magical power, things like that. The Buddha was someone who really questioned the very existence of the self. Even after 2,500 years, we still haven't come to a conclusion. Self, myself, yourself, He was that of he was really avant-garde. He was really very much, ahead. And Nalanda was just like that. But anyway, the dean of the Nalanda University, Saraha, he was a very accomplished, very feared, very respected, so in awe by other intellectuals, academics, scientists, if you like. But one day, he thought all this logic and all this reasoning and all this critical thinking is useless. They're just another trap. They're just another belief. So he took off. And he met part-time prostitute, part-time arrow makers, woman, and just the sight of her, he was so, I don't know, move is the right word, just something was shifting, just the sight of her. And this woman, she was making arrow, and she was just sort of testing the arrows and shooting just aimlessly everywhere, I guess. And Saraha just sort of asked, well, why are you not aiming, properly? She's the arrow maker. And she said, that's your problem. You have an aim. And that did it. All these years of analysis and critical thinking and reading books and debating and all of that, nothing did. All of this didn't do anything, but that experience did something. So, in a very rare cases, and if the cause and conditions are together, yes, that can happen, and that can really shift you. Yes, forever. Dent your sort of organized, sort of sensible life, orderly life. And that's it. And then it's possible that you never go back to your sort of old self. This is very possible. But for the rest of us, we need to rely on hearing, contemplation. We need to rely on logic. We need to rely on language. We need to rely on analogy, inferential logic. We need to really rely on analysis, basically. And this is why Buddha also encouraged never to take things for granted, never take what he said at face value, must analyze. And when he's talking about it, mainly he's talking about the view. View is really utmost important. Even the most seasoned practitioners here, those who consider themselves as being Buddhist for a long time, please visit the world of view again and again, even though many of them are dry, boring, intellectual, academical. It will not harm. If it cannot help you right away, it's definitely not going to harm. And I think so important for study of Buddhism. I cannot emphasize this enough. But it's difficult. It's really difficult. As we had a glimpse of difficulty yesterday, because articulating any kind of view of religion or philosophy is of course difficult, and especially Buddhism, because we are trying to articulate, we are trying to talk something that cannot be really taught. We cannot, there's no proper language, there's no proper whatever. But having said that, there are, texts such as the Vajracchedika Sutra, and one of the most, the Vajracchedika Sutra, Diamond Sutra, I guess that's how people seems to have translated, but maybe not a good translation. Anyway, in one section, Buddha talk about this is view. Karma rabrip marmedam, jumas, silva, chuburtar, milam, lotam, tintabur, duje, chunam, tetar, ta. Ta, the last word, the view, tawa, view. That's how you are supposed to view. Supposed to view at what? All conditioned phenomena. All conditioned phenomena. When I say all, I mean literally all. Everything. Not only our body, not only this house, not only a system, just everything. The most interesting things, most mundane thing, all the way to most interesting and complicated things. Like, this is strawberry, this is cherry, this is blueberry, very mundane. And then Buddhism, reincarnation, you, me, men, women, all these complicated things. They are all conditioned phenomena. And all these conditioned phenomena should be viewed as dream. These are different translations. I think using based on Chinese translation from the Chinese text translated into English, because I just want to use that because I think, I don't know, maybe someone can correct me. I think the printing is, the whole engine of printing is, started in China, isn't it? The actual printing, the concept of printing. And I was told that the first ever thing that they actually print is the Vajracchedika Sutra. How interesting is that? It's like amazing. So, anyway, and this is a big deal, but because, so printing, this is like amazing. That's like, during those days, it must be as exciting as going to Mars, And then you decided to print what? Not like some edict of an emperor or, that could be very much, pushed by the emperors or empress, or it could be a money or I don't know. But instead of all of that, they decided to print, they decided to carve Vajracchedika Sutra, where words like this is found. All conditioned phenomena are supposed to view as dream, as illusion, as bubble, as a shadow, as a dew, as a flash of lightning. Thus we shall perceive them. That's the view of Buddhism. Now, as you read this, one is not supposed to think, life is like a dream. You see, there's this habit, life is a dream, so it does not exist. Absolutely not. It's really important not to interpret it that way. Life is just a dream. What do you mean by just? That word just is very scary. It has that sort of demeaning, sort of downgrading. Yes, so choose the word just very carefully. So, responding to Raymond's question yesterday, appearance and disappearance, Raymond was thinking about like it comes in order. No, dream. When Buddha said all conditioned phenomena has to be viewed as a dream. Dream has an order. If there is a 5 elephant in the dream, just because it's a dream, it does not mean that there is 4. You understand? It's a 5. And it's a truly 5. You understand? That's important. That's, if in the dream you have a kilo of cherry or strawberry, if that's what you dream, then it's a kilo, not 2 kilos. If in the dream you have a long distance, or actually I should say very, very short distance between here to Uluru, yeah, well, it's kind of puzzling, but well, that's how it is. That's how it, and it is acceptable. In the dream you fall from the cliff and you get panicked. You have very good reason to be panicked. Really, really good reason to be panicked. Because, we know what happens when you fall from the cliff. Also, in the dream, you can get angry, you can get horny, you can get, excited, you can get disappointed, all of that. And it's happening, truly happening. That's why it's called a relative truth. It's truly at that time. Is it happening? Is it really there? As I was speaking this again and again yesterday, yes, but it's also not there. If you happen to dream in your tiny room 5 elephant, obviously it's not there also because it won't fit. 5 elephants are big. But in the dream, 5 elephants are 5 elephants. That's how it works. So when the Buddhists talk about all condition as a dream, it's not a negation only. Illusion, same. Like a mirage, like an oasis. You are in the desert and you really, really want to, you are so tired of this endless sort of sand dune. See, that's a cause and condition. When you are so tired of sand dune, only then you will have oasis. If you are in the chances of, you sitting in Bondi Beach and then have a appearance of an oasis is little because, it's the whole thing, But longing for oasis, longing for water also projection of, and that's how it works. Longing for, we don't want to deal with a salesperson. We don't want to deal with all that, the effort of, physically shopping, online shopping. That's why it happened. But then it has consequences, isn't it? That has a lot of consequences. Yeah, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, bubble, shadow. When there's a cause and conditions put together temporarily, such as switching on the light, there's a shadow. Out of nowhere. No light, no shadow. As long as there's a light, there is a shadow. Like that. While I think about this, I must say, having this view is Mahakaruna. I'll hate to use the word compassion because, sort of working with one of my projects called 84,000, translating the words of the Buddha, I have, not much, but, like when I'm looking at the words, English words, Tibetan words, Sanskrit words, I realized, wow, the words are just so important. Anyway, the compassion is if I'm like a Kim Jong-un of Buddhism, I will really forbid the words. There are few words that I will forbid: meditation, compassion, enlightenment. Oh, so bad, so bad. I would really forbid, but alas, I'm not. But I'm praying. I'm sure you know already. I have told you this, and already the sort of conditions is sort of developing in my system, sort of that very sort of dictatorial sort of won't fit in certain society, but I think I heard that algorithm is taking over the world. You know, in about 50 years, democracy will mean nothing. So I think I will have a chance. I think I will have a chance. I can see it already. It's happening. And by the way, yes. What a bubble democracy. Free speech. What is it? Lightning. What is it? Flash of lightning. Vajrachedika Sutra. Journalism. That's like a shadow. You know, if you look at the list of what Buddha laid out, all our life, we're shopping, parenting, pension plan, insurance, health insurance, whatever. If you look at this. Anyway, that's from the Vajrachedika Sutra, and the Buddha, the teacher. Then his disciple, Nagarjuna, I'm not his immediate disciple, but later. I just want to say these things because I think it's really important that you get used to these words. Then, I think, several hundred years later, Nagarjuna came. And the Nagarjuna had the commentary to sutras like Vajrachedika Sutra. And the view is so much talked about. So, okay. Gabam meba, chemeba, chebam meba, tam meba, won meba, drum meba, tade, demin, denjik min. He actually used more analytical. The Buddhist was more analogy, example. Like a life is like a dream, like an illusion, like a bubble. But Nagarjuna is more analytical. And this is something that you can think about. He said, there is no such thing as a ceasing. This is important. Do you know how we justify certain things exist? Because it has an expiry date. Ceasing. Cessation. We believe in cessation. You understand? Like Armageddon, right? Armageddon. The end of the world. Nagarjuna don't believe in this. There is no such thing as a cessation. It's, you should fight for the fire. It's not like end of the world. There's all the reason. You have to save every single tree. cessation. There's a certain strong belief. We will talk more. Cessation. No, not in Buddhism. There's no such thing as a cessation. There's only a apparent sort of seemingly cessation, but it's not real cessation. Just like there's no cessation, there's no arising. Birth, born, arising, no genesis. And then he also, okay, I'll try to give you an example. Like things, there's no such thing as, permanent. Just as there's no such thing as a permanent, there's no such thing as, what do you call it, annihilated, sort of the end, right? The annihilated, I think so. I think, to give you an example, okay, Shakyamuni Buddha, or Jesus Christ, gone. No more. That's annihilated. Your head on your shoulder is here. That's permanent. You understand? Basically, what we don't see, past, annihilated. Yesterday, gone. For really believing that yesterday is gone, exhausted, is basically falling into the realm of annihilation. Nagarjuna don't believe in that. My head is on my neck. This is here. I can feel it. Truly believing that it's here, today, present, nowadays, right this very moment. Believing in this moment. That's falling into the extreme of the opposite of annihilation. What is the opposite of annihilation? Permanent, sort of. It's there. Can you think about, this is the same thing. There's no such thing as departing. There's no such thing as coming. There's no such thing as a different, like a black and white. Nagarjuna doesn't believe. There's no such thing as a one, like one, opposite of different. In 8 different ways, he analyzed the phenomena, and then he come to the conclusion that this is how it is. So, okay, to speak more, in the Nagarjuna, birth is, I talked yesterday, while it exists, while it's there, it's not there. Same thing. Nagarjuna, while it's arising, it's also ceasing. While it is ceasing, that is also the arising. While it is there, what do you call it? Solid, it is also not solid. While it is gone or whatever, annihilate, finished, it's also not finished. While it's different, it's also the same. All these distinctions are like a bubble. And the Buddhists are not supposed to fall into one of them. Okay, Buddha, Jesus is gone, finished. That is 2,000 years ago. Annihilation. Me, I'm here. This is here. Permanent. Wow. These are taught in so many different ways. And some of them, as I said yesterday, stories, in the form of a story. And this is where people get it wrong. Oh, now Buddhism, like myth and, like story. But actually the aim is to teach these, what I've just give you, the list. Like Nagarjuna don't believe in big. Big, while it is big, it is small. While it is small, it's big. Okay? Everything is like this. While it is there, it's not there. While it's small, it's big. How it is taught in some other sutras. Okay, there's a sutra of description of the Buddha realm. So beautiful. So beautiful. There is a Buddha called Sanjay Karmala Gawa. What a beautiful name he has. I don't know in Sanskrit, but to translate it into English, the Buddha who likes the stars. That's his name. Anyway, so there's this sutra where all the Buddha realms are described. And this particular Buddha, Sanjay Karmala Gawa, the one who likes the stars, his realm is as big, I should use the word, emphasize the word, big, as our thumb size. It goes on. The duration of the realm, lifespan of this Buddha, how much is it? It lasts, meaning a healthy person, a healthy young person snapping the finger, like that. Divide that into 60, and one of that is the duration of that Buddha realm. See, story. So it's a very, this is, but it depends on how you hear it. It, in one way it sounds like a Star Wars, it's like, okay. Okay, Gambakundu Zig, the Buddha that gazes, okay, there's another Buddha called Buddha that gazes to everything. That Buddha, by the way, Gambakundu Zig, is the one, the Gambakundu Zig, the Buddha, when the Manjushri, supposedly the Manjushri is a bodhisattva at the moment, when he finally achieved enlightenment, he's called Gambakundu Zig, the all-gazer, so to speak, right? All-gazing. And there's even a description of how they look. He will look all his body black from the neck down. The face is white. Stories. Sort of, right? So his size of his Buddha field, and underline my word, as small as infinite. That's how the sutra says. As small as infinite. You cannot measure. Supposedly, and his body is also as small as infinite. In one of the descriptions, it says that there are tens and thousands of Buddhas walking between one end of his nostril to the other end of the nostril, and they still haven't reached to the other side. See how these people are making mockery of time, space. They're laughing at it. They're laughing at this things like small. They're laughing at things like big. These guys, they're laughing at it. But they also know, out of their compassion, you want to hear size, you want to hear shape, you want to hear the description. Then they give you all this mind-boggling stuff. Not only mind-boggling, many of them are so beautiful too. They're like very inspiring. This Buddha field descriptions are quite something. Certain Buddha fields have no other realms, only ghosts. Only ghosts. And there's a ghost Buddha. Yeah. But in that sutra, they also talk about realms that has no Buddhas. And the Buddhist practitioners, they pray, may I never be, I can be born in the ghost realm, I can be born anywhere, as long as there's a Buddha, may I be born into that, but not in that place where there's no Buddha. But again, it's a story, you know. And then there's also what Munpi Kalpa, the dark age, or a age, eon, or the age, or the kalpa, eon, of no, basically dark age, meaning there's no Buddha. That's something, I don't know how to, that's like so profound again, that description. You may think that, oh, okay, maybe after several centuries later, there will be a time where there is no Buddha. It's not really like that. On the highest level, the moment you are distracted, it doesn't matter what you are distracted with. The moment you are distracted, that moment is the eon or the dark age. The moment you are not distracted, that's the light eon. The eon of, there's something called fortunate eon. That is the time where we are supposedly dwelling at the moment. Yeah. And because of that, you will also hear the teachings from Buddhist teachings. Oh, you know, it's going to take 3 countless eons to become Buddha. It's a story. Because they want you to work hard. They don't want you to be lazy. But then other times, you know, you will get the enlightenment instantly. Just like that. They also say this. So, the difficulty of Buddha Dharma being presented to the modern world who is stuck with mathematics, logic, and I don't know, empiricism, right? Empiricism. Experienceable. It's difficult. I told you yesterday, to teach something so non-dual, to teach a doctrine that laughs at size, color, shape, time, using the language of color, shape, time. It's difficult. But, you know, this is how it is. Okay, just a little bit more again, the Buddhist view. Well, I've been using seemingly little negative, isn't it? Okay, no rising, no cessation, no annihilation, no permanent, no departing. You know the word no nose, no ears. Gagda, we call it in the Tibetan. It's sort of using the more negative word. Also, the Vajracchedika Sutra is, you know, if you read, it's very, you can say it uses a lot of negative word. Like, there's even a section where after like hours and hours of teachings, Buddha asked Subhuti, so Subhuti, did Buddha taught? You know, he's the one who's listening hours. And then Subhuti says, no, Lord, you haven't. Buddha said, there we go. That's it. Buddha never taught. It's like crazy. You understand? What do you mean not taught? I've spent hours reading this. Again, using the negative, negation. There are a lot of teachings like that, but it's not always like this. There are plenty of teachings where Buddhists use positive, if you want, if you like, the word positive. Kudam, yeshe, jhanas, kayas, 32 major marks, 80 minor marks, dimension, body, kaya, jhana, wisdom, all sorts of uplifting words, Nimban people will like this kind of words, Don't worry, those who are not Australians, you don't know what I'm talking about, Nimban, but it's a particular pure realm. It's a particular pure realm. It's uplifting, sort of, instead of using the word emptiness, they use the words like Buddha nature, Tathagata Garva, like that. Even the Saraha, the disciple of that part-time arrow maker, part-time prostitute, he said, he said, chuk is like animal? Cattle, right. In this day and age, I have to be careful how, animal right people, they may not like this. But anyway, Saraha said, those who cling to things truly exist. They are like a cattle. Idiots, cattle. But those who cling to shunyata, emptiness, the things that does not exist, they are even worse than that. See? Talks about kayas, jhanas, pure realm. Oh, now if you go to Vajrayana, they have plenty mandalas. I'm pronouncing as Australian mandalas. Mandalas, you understand? And deities, Tara, blue one, green one with 4 hands, one with the 3 eyes, one with 1,000,000 eyes, so on and so forth. Yeah? Everything is fitting. And because of that, everything is adaptable. Astrology, tarot card reading. I cannot say sitting on a meditation cushion is a better path than, between this, in this context, I cannot say this path is better than, reading tarot. I cannot. As long as the view is there, and if it is taking you closer to the truth, that is the path. Oh, I got distracted. I was going to talk about compassion. I should not use the word compassion, but again, I'm Mahakaruna. This, knowing that there is no coming, no going, or knowing that while it is small, it is simultaneously big. While it is appearing, simultaneously it is disappearing. While it is apparent, it is also non-existent. This is the Mahakaruna. This is what we term as compassion. Not this sort of sort of, very sort of, I don't know, how should I say it, like sympathy, charity, right? Charity, charitable, feeling. They're okay, but they're not Mahakaruna. They're maybe Karuna. Karuna. It's not Mahakaruna. And what's wrong with that? If you don't have that view, that kind of karuna, that kind of mere compassion, it may end up taking you into hospital. It may end up leading you to hospitals, and you may end up needing a shrink, lying on a couch. What's wrong, mate? And you say, I've been having too much compassion. Too much. Until I broke down, like this. How would you feel when you see somebody going really bananas, I don't know, dreaming or a hallucinogenic experience, like really long, short? Oh, Uluru is so close, or so far. I have 500 elephants in my room. You understand? Oh, this is actually not really happening. Then you are just like, oh, you understand? That's a real compassion, isn't it? Oh. Of course, depending on how expert you are, how the great how matured you are, and how skillful you are also. Because until you have this, your compassion is called, we call it nyering chaldang, tang dalwa, or nye ring chaldang. It's like your compassion is not yet free from nyering, sort of a distinctions of closeness or distant, right? Reference. And some sort of, you will have easy compassion towards someone who is sick in Ethiopia or Rwanda or Syria, some war-torn zone. But Trump, no, he doesn't deserve my compassion. Trump, or a billionaire, they don't need my compassion, because you are bound by size, shape, color, length, distinctions, rich, poor. Yeah. While you are rich, you are simultaneously poor. Keep on remembering this. This paradox is so important. So important. I was looking at the word paradoxy in English. I found one good example. Probably you should. It says paradoxy is a bit like, oh, don't believe. I lie all the time. Don't believe in me. I like that. You understand? The whole phenomena is like this. I lie all the time, so don't believe. But so you can. So what choice do you have? Or maybe he's lying this time, or he's now at last telling the truth. Whole phenomena is like this. Oh, now this time it really exists. Or now this time is finally gone. Not like that. That's the paradoxy. This really needs to be established in order to understand the Buddhist sort of, path. Okay, enough with the view. We will take a break, but after the break, we will talk about meditation, but I'm going to use the word practice is better, I think. I will use the word practice. Our Gomba, practice. Meditation. You are welcome to keep on using the word meditation. I think you will. But I think we need to poke. We need to, do a little bit of, reality check with the overly using word meditation. And it has been really overly used. So we will do a little bit of fact checking on this one. Okay.